Hello, this is Pat Kelly. Okay, this problem just asks us to find the arc sine of a half. This should be easy. I'll just grab my calculator and plug it in. I'm teasing you. Did you read the directions? We're supposed to evaluate this without a calculator. The real point of these problems is to make sure you understand the concept of these inverse trig functions. So your calculator already knows how to do it. You have to make sure you understand how to do it. So let me walk you through the thought process of a problem like this. All right, now, what you want to do is relate this to what you do know from trig class. Now, the thing with these inverse trig functions is that your answer is the angle that we used to have on the inside of our trig functions from trig class. So your answer is going to be that theta, that angle that would be on the inside of the trig function from trig class. So what I would encourage you to do right off the bat is take this equation and rewrite it so it looks more familiar to you. And that rewrite is actually capitalizing on the understanding of these inverse trig functions. What I mean by that is the arc sine of a half equaling theta is exactly the same as the sine of theta equaling 1/2. All right, now you just have to ask yourself, when does the sine of theta equal 1/2? Okay? All right, now you should remember from trig that these trig functions are cyclic, so there's actually infinitely many answers to that. There's infinitely many different values of theta that are going to give me a sine of 1/2. So that's why it was important in the development of these inverse trig functions that this domain was restricted. And this should look somewhat familiar to you then, is that in this case, our theta has to be between a negative pi over 2 and a positive pi over 2. All right, and then back to our problem. What that means to me is I'm still asking myself what theta will give me a sine of a half, but I need to make sure my theta is between negative pi over 2 and pi over 2. So the right-hand side of the unit circle, right? But in this case, a theta of pi over 6 satisfies what we were looking for. That is, the sine of pi over 6 is 1/2. Therefore, my final answer here is that the arc sine of 1/2, that's what they asked me for, that equals pi over 6. Your answer is the angle. Okay? Use that thought process in the other problems like this, and it should serve you well. All right?